Cologne factory in December, and the very last Capri, number 1,886,647, leaves the line. One of a special edition of 1,000 farewell Capris. All the photographers, though, are British, because although the Capri was only built in Germany for the last few years of its life, the car was designed and mainly bought in Britain. The early prototypes looked very aggressive. Ford of Britain wanted their own version of the successful Mustang sports car from America, but they were eventually toned down until only the heavy rear three-quarter panels were left, and they were changed when the rear passengers couldn't see out. So the final car had the characteristic U-shape to the rear windows, which was to stay with the Capri to the end. And the commercials played on the idea of the Capri as an affordable sports car with passenger and luggage space as well.
Ford Capri, the car you always promised yourself, from £890.
We were trying to seek out a market opportunity between the boring saloons of the time, the Hilmer Minxes, the Vauxhall Victors, and and indeed Cortinas, yet at the other hand recognizing there was a tremendous desire for people to own things like Jaguar E-types and Ferrari fixed-head coupes. That was the sort of market we wanted to go for, a cheap, affordable car with all the looks and pizzazz and probably poser value of a Jaguar or a Ferrari. Basically, we started from the Cortina. We were given an objective of spending £40, which isn't very much money, £40 on styling the car so that you can sell it for no more than £80 to £90 more than an equivalent Cortina. And as you know, the Capri came in at £890, which was about £90 over the Cortina equivalent.
It was always intended as a family car. It is a four-seater, well, just about, but with a very strongly sporty flavour. Short, stubby little gear stick, a cluster of instruments, and all this matte black inside. More important, it was a sporty car from the outside, with this long swept line, the fastback tail end, and this lovely long bonnet. But it didn't actually need a bonnet as long as this. The engine didn't take up anything like all the space under the bonnet. In fact, some people called this a Cortina in drag, or a sheep in wolf's clothing. But it wasn't all about image. Ford had motorsport in mind with the Capri.
And Clark is adopting the race driving tactics of all time as he throws that Capri about as though it's a matchbox and feeding the car through to those...
A four-wheel drive version was planned from the start, but in spite of success in rallycross, the road car never materialised. Ford said the four-wheel drive system took up too much of the limited interior space.
And exciting race we've ever seen.
Capris dominated the European Touring Car Championships in 1971 and 72. The cars were RS 2600s, developed by Ford of Germany to improve the Capri's sporting image. Their reign was short. They were defeated in 1973 by a wealthier team from BMW. With the RS 3100, Ford of Britain tried their own racer, seen here at the company's Dunton test track in Essex. Launched at the same time as the first fuel crisis, only 250 were sold. The fuel crisis mood also affected the Capri's replacement. 5 years after its launch, and with more than 1 million of them by now on the road, the Capri was revamped and the Mark II came along. Now, in keeping with the trend of the early 1970s, car and as a racing machine, and so it triggered a lot of special versions with modified bodies and engines, like the Tickford with its very lavish interior, lots of leather and walnut, with its turbocharged 2.8 litre engine, its special suspension and its very heavily modified bodywork. This car is the Swaymar 2.9 Turbo. It has 285 brake horsepower from this turbocharged engine, and they say it'll do at least 160 miles an hour, and with a 0 to 60 acceleration time in well under 6 seconds. It has the bodywork to match, all the lovely flared out wheel arches and this beautiful colour-keyed paintwork. In fact, altogether, it's really quite a mean machine. So, with all this new interest, why does the Capri have to go?
Basically because the demand has moved into hot hatchbacks and XR3s and Golf GTIs and Peugeot 205 GTs. We ended up basically selling an 18-year-old antique at the rate of 1% of the British market, 18,000 cars a year, to a very loyal owner body, most of whom are very disappointed we're not replacing Capri, and there are 18,000 buyers out there at least who would like to see some sort of Capri come back.
But I can't see Ford producing a new Capri for only 18,000 buyers a year. So, if you must have one, £11,000 will buy one of these last 280 specials.